Some shows talk about one team. Other shows barely talk sports. This show will talk Packers, Brewers, and Bucks every day. Every day. It's Wisconsin Sports Daily with Steve Sparky Pfeiffer, served up by Wendy's on 1250 AM and 105.7 FM The Fan. Download the Wendy's app today.
Welcome back to Wisconsin Sports Daily, served up by Wendy's. Tommy Wortz, Charlie Uczen here with you live from the 1250 AM, 105.7 FM The Fan studios, powered by the Potawatomi Sportsbook. Don't worry, we'll talk more Brewers. You guys all want to be sad and angry and not happy as well. I'm trying to avoid that. So we've been mixing up Brewers, Packers, Brewers, Packers, Brewers, Packers as much as possible today. And we are getting into another Packers segment. Joining us now, Fan Guest Hotline, powered by Gruber Law. I believe, if memory serves me correct, Charles, Jovan Alford, Dairyland Express, Total Sports Live, is the first guest we ever had on this station.
I believe so.
A little over a year ago when it was you and me, and now we are back reunited. It feels so good. Jovan, how we doing, my man?
I'm doing good. Always glad to be on with y'all talking ball. Always,
yeah,
man.
Yeah. And I'm glad we waited until the Packers totally look like nothing will go right ever again so that we can talk about it. But a bounce back game, the potential for a bounce back game after the early bye and the Packers taking on the Cincinnati Bengals this week. After the bye, did you feel like it was a good time for a bye for Green Bay, Jovan? Did you think that maybe we saw Green Bay get unlucky with their bye situation, but after those two games beforehand, maybe the perfect time for Green Bay to take a week off?
Oh yeah, for sure. I think for if you're a Packers fan, I think the bye came at a perfect week, especially from the health department, especially on that offensive line. The offensive line, I think, probably has been one of the bigger, points and talking points around this team outside of the special teams gaffes, which are a whole nother thing. But
don't even bring it up. I was going to go the whole interview, never bringing up special teams, Jovan. And that's a bye ain't going to fix that.
No, but the bye definitely helps fix this injury problem. And it seems like, Banks and Tom are both on track to play. Both lists questionable for Sunday's game. So if you're a Packers fan, you should be taking a huge sigh of relief. The bye came at a perfect time to get everybody healthy, and you hope that leads to better play on the field on Sunday against a Bengals team who have lost 3 straight coming into Sunday.
So, Jovan, you brought up the health of this offensive line, and Zach Tom and Aaron Banks both been questionable, both looking good. Zach Tom said he feels pretty comfortable, ready to play for Sunday. With that being said, we've seen both these guys say they're ready to play and then come out of games pretty early here. We do a segment here on Wisconsin Sports Daily every Friday called Confident, Concerned, and Curious, where we go through the Packers game, what we're confident, concerned, and curious about. My curious was about Jordan Morgan and where I felt like he's going to play first on this offensive line in this game at some point. Anthony Belton is probably out of this game, hasn't practiced all week. Mm-hmm. Where do you foresee Jordan Morgan playing first, and what do you expect from him if he does have to end up going into this game, which is probably going to have to go into this game?
Yeah, no, I think the Jordan Morgan thing has just been so wild for a guy that's a former first round pick, and just how the Packers, I think, are almost spreading him too thin, because it seems like they were putting him at one spot, putting him at tackle, then he's at guard, but it's like most teams have a swing tackle and you have designated guards to back up. You're giving this kid a little too much to do whatever. If you want to put him at tackle, stick him at tackle. Luckily, like you said, Tom and, Walker seems like he's good to go. I think that's good. So I think, and Banks is obviously good on the left side. So that's great. You hope that if those guys are okay, and like you said, if they don't have to come out, into a quarter, you can say, okay, Jordan, you can kind of, relax, just take a deep breath. But if you need, for example, if Tom goes out or Banks goes out again, you probably should feel comfortable in saying, hey, we can throw him in there, let's see what he does. He has so much talent. He's an immensely talented kid. Is just, like I said, just leaving him at one spot and just letting him go, letting him just be that guy and develop, because you draft him in the first round for a reason. Don't push him around to this spot or that spot. Put him in one spot, let him go. And I think with these two guys healthy, I think it helps that need. But if somebody has to come out, you cross your fingers that it doesn't. You have someone that can easily step in at one of those spots.
Jovan, Alford, Dairyland Express, Total Sports Live, joining us now on Wisconsin Sports Daily. You can follow him on Twitter at Jovan10. I want to talk about Josh Jacobs and maybe the marriage that has with some of the offensive line here. From my confident concern and curious earlier today, I said that I think this is Josh Jacobs' game. I think this is the day that, he's going to have more than 86 yards. He hasn't averaged over 4 yards a carry yet in a season game this year either, Jovan. How concerned, though, are you with some of the play from Josh Jacobs? Because this is a guy that has had on years and off years in the past with now Vegas, formerly Oakland, formerly Los Angeles, and whatever the hell else they've played now, Raiders too. But I feel like this is the week that if we're going to see something out of Josh Jacobs and the offensive line, this is as good of a week as any right now going up against that Bengals defense, Jovan.
Oh yeah, 100%. This is like the proverbial get right spot. Like this is the get right spot for him. Like you said, I feel like the last game against the Cowboys defense, he showed a little bit more. I think he played much better. And I also always love the Packers getting him involved in the passing game, which I think just helps get more use out of him and what he can bring, to this team. And like you said, this season it hasn't gone well, right? 3.3 yards per carry is not good, right? That's almost like what Saquon Barkley is doing right now for the Eagles. And both of those teams, right? The strange coincidence is offensive line play, guys being banged up or guys just not, performing, across the board. So I think for the Packers, getting those guys back in particular, I think should help Jacobs, especially against this Cincinnati defense. Very leaky, against the run this year. I think they've given up like 132.2, but over the last 157 on the ground. Like if you cannot run the football with Josh Jacobs successfully, like then there's a bigger problem at hand. So I agree with you. I think Josh Jacobs has a monster game, and I think that this Packers defense can take advantage of Cincinnati even on third downs this year. Cincinnati is ranked, I think, towards the bottom in third down conversion percentage at 46%. So
that was before Joe Flacco, Jovan. That was before Joe Flacco. I
mean, come on now. It's Joe Flacco. It's not.
It's Packer killer this year, right? I mean, what? Yeah, these
Cleveland
already.
Or was it Shelby Harris being the Packer killer?
Malik Collins is a Hall of Famer right now. That's what I heard in that game.
That's what it feels like. Jovan, you mentioned Josh Jacobs getting going in that Dallas Cowboys game. Somebody else who got going in that Dallas Cowboys game was Romeo Doubs. 3 touchdowns was a huge performance from him. I know a lot of people are talking about him as a fantasy option moving forward here. What do you expect his role to continue to be with this Packers team, especially after an offensive explosion like that? At the same time, everybody seemed to offensively explode against the Dallas Cowboys. So what do you make of that game, and what do you think he's going to do in a game against a defense like the Bengals, who also aren't that great?
Yeah, no, I think this is, if you're like a Romeo Doubs truther or believer and just have him in fantasy, like you are loving it right now. I think Doubs is finally living up to the potential that I think we all saw that he had as a rookie, and now you're kind of seeing it, in fruition, like him stepping up as like that wide receiver one, being that reliable target, for Jordan Love. And that's no disrespect to Matthew Golden, right? I feel like that connection is just going to continue to come and get better and better. But Doubs has been that red zone threat. I mean, he might not have like the 100-yard games, but like you said, you'll turn around and Jordan Love's going right to him in the red zone, right? Because everybody's probably thinking it's Josh Jacobs, it's Tucker Kraft. Like, we got to shut down those two guys. And Doubs is taking advantage, of those matchups. And we saw even, earlier in the season, he's even capable of giving you those explosive plays in the passing game. So I expect the same thing, from Romeo Doubs this week. This Bengals secondary is not great at the cornerback position. This season, they think they give about 259 yards per game against the pass, which is 4th most in the league. So I think the Packers will have their opportunity to take shots. And I would think that if you can run the football, right, that's going to be the key, right? If you can run the football with Josh Jacobs successfully on first down, get into those second and manageables and third and manageables, that's going to open up the playbook for Doubs, for Matthew Golden, for Tucker Kraft to really take off. So I like Romeo Doubs this week. I think Doubs is just going to continue to have a good game. And, I think that's going to be good for him going forward because he's a projected free agent at the end of this year. So he's making his case very good right now.
Talking with Jovan, Alford, Dairyland Express, and Total Sports Live. You can follow him on Twitter at Jovan10. We are Wisconsin Sports Daily right here on the Fan Milwaukee. I'm Charlie Uczen. That's Tommy Wortz over there. Jovan, you brought up the relationship with Jordan Love and Matthew Golden, and that's starting to kind of bud here a little bit. How long do you expect that relationship to take to build here between those two guys? And when do you see Matthew Golden becoming that wide receiver one? Is that even something you expect to see this season based off of kind of the development we've seen with that relationship already through the first couple of weeks here?
I don't know if I necessarily see it happening like probably immediately, just given the fact that he still has Romeo Doubs at his disposal. You will be getting back Christian Watson too. And, a couple of weeks seems like he's ready to go and getting back on the field, which just makes the Packers just entirely different, like offense, just with having the deep threat ability of both Golden, and Watson. So I think for me, I don't expect it to happen in the next few weeks, but I think that's the luxury of what the Packers have shown us these last few years with having the abundance of like young, talented receiver, right? Nobody has to be like the number one, like wide receiver. They have guys that can do a little bit of everything that kind of complements each other, right? Jaden Reed, can stretch the field a little bit, but he's also great underneath, right? But you have the complement of Christian Watson, who has the speed to just take the top off the defense. You got Matthew Golden, who can play at all three wide receiver spots, and then a guy in Dobbs who is a red zone threat. So it's like they're the perfect mix of like a team, almost like in the vein of like the Kansas City Chiefs, right, where they don't have like that number one guy, but they all do something so well that it's like you can't take your eyes off of any of these guys.
And do you think that is the benefit, like that will only benefit Jordan Love's game, Jovan, because he's been phenomenal through his first 4 games of the season in my eyes too, and really at some points been the only part of the offense that you can point to as successful for Green Bay in some games this year. Do you expect that to continue throughout the season with Jordan Love and his play right now? And it will be because maybe he doesn't establish a number one option or a number one weapon throughout this year. He wants to spread the ball around. He wants to get everyone involved, and it creates an advantage for this Packers offense if Jordan Love is spreading it all around.
Oh yeah, 100%. I think anytime you would love to have like the bona fide number one, but anytime you can spread the ball around, it just makes things difficult because again, who do you stop, right? If you're Cincinnati coming to this game, all right, you got to stop Dobbs. You got to make sure you keep Golden in front of you. Okay, but now you got to worry about Tucker Kraft in the middle of the field. You also got to worry about a guy in Dontavian Wicks who, will sometimes have 4 catches, or get a lot of targets in the early game, like we saw a couple weeks ago against the Commanders. So I think him spreading the ball around is going to be a good thing because we're also going to see moments where he goes to certain guys based on matchups, right? Like I said, Romeo Doubs didn't come in as like the guy, but he's developed into that red zone target. And who's to say that Matthew Golden doesn't evolve into that guy where he feels comfortable in, okay, we know this shot play. We have this matchup. Like we're going right at him. No one can stick him. No one can cover him.
Jovan, Alford, Dairyland Express, Total Sports Live, joining us here on Wisconsin Sports Daily. Jovan, this game right now, it feels like Green Bay only has something to lose after this week, right? It's coming off the bye. You're prepared. The Bengals have no idea who they wanted at quarterback, so they went out and made a trade for Joe Flacco. They just want a guy who can at least get the ball to some of their talented receivers.
Yep.
And their defense stinks too. And now the Packers, they're 14-point favorites at a lot of betting sites on they're going to dominate Cincinnati. They're back at Lambeau Field after having 2 road games before the bye as well. How can Green Bay find something to gain after this game? Because all signs point to you can only be mad at Green Bay after this game. Otherwise, they're just taking care of business if they want to be a top competitive team in the league, Jovan.
Yeah, no, I think for the Packers, I think there's a few things you want to see coming out of this game, right? Like we mentioned, the running game, right? Let's get Josh Jacobs going. You get Josh Jacobs going, that's only going to bowl well for you against Arizona, against the Steelers coming up, the Panthers, then obviously in November against the Eagles. Get that running game going. That's gonna help, carry you. And I think defensively, like you want to continue to see what this defense can do, what this front 7 can do, right? You got a couple sacks on Joe Flacco in their previous meeting when he was with, Cleveland, and you held that Browns team, to 13 points. Cincinnati, granted, they have Higgins and Chase, who are a complete upgrade over, what, Cleveland has from a wide receiver standpoint. But I think if you're a Packers fan, like you want to see the running game get going. You want to see that offensive line, protect Love and, stay healthy first and foremost. And then the defense, get turnovers, be opportunistic, get sacks, put Joe Flacco in 3rd and long, 2nd and long, and really force him to make some plays on a short week. Like you said, he's going to be wearing a wristband. This is very short week. They just want a guy that's not going to be a turnover machine. But Joe Flacco, throughout his first 4 or 5 games with Cleveland, has been a turnover machine. So if you're Green Bay, try to do that.
Jovan, you brought up guys on the defense that probably will need to make big plays here. Tommy, in his Confident Concerned Curious, was talking about Keyshawn Nixon going up against Jamar Chase or T. Higgins. We also brought up Devontae Wyatt not playing in this game and what the defensive tackle rotation is going to look like between all those guys on that defensive line group, in that defensive tackle group. Who do you think is going to step up the most for a Devontae Wyatt in that spot? And then how much do you think they'll be able to help the defensive back group without a guy like Devontae Wyatt out there?
Yeah, no, not having Wyatt is definitely big, but I think, again, this is where you trust in your development of, Carl Brooks, Stackhouse and Wooden, and it helps that the Bengals offensive line is not great, and it also helps that Chase Brown has not really done nothing on the ground. So if anything, I want to see if those young guys can fill in that role. Can you get pressure? Can you stop the run? Can you do those things? Because we know in football, and we've seen it with this Packers team, right? If this front seven's humming, with everything that Jeff Hafley does, it makes the secondary job 10 times easier, right? It's going to make Keyshawn Nixon's job 10 times easier against Chase. And we know Jamar Chase is going to get his, right? Because that's just Jamar Chase, right? But if those guys, particularly on that defensive line, they can get, a couple of TFLs here, get a couple of pressures, like that's going to go a long way. You stop that run, now that's going to if you put them in 3rd and long situations, Micah Parsons, Lucas Van Ness, pin your ears back and go right at him.
Jovan Alford, Dairyland Express, Total Sports Live. Prediction for Sunday, Jovan?
Prediction, I won't give a score prediction because I know that spread's 14 points and weirder things have happened. Bad beats do happen in the NFL. But I will say, I think Green Bay comes away with this win. I think, like you said, I think Josh Jacobs gets off the mat and really looks like the Josh Jacobs we saw last year. And I think Tucker Kraft could have a very big game here. I think Tucker Kraft could be somebody to watch out for, especially knowing this Bengals defense has not been great against tight ends this year. We saw Sam Laporta have a nice game against them, and then TJ Hawkinson a few weeks back with the Vikings. So I think Packers win this game. It might not be by 14. It might be 13 just because you know how the spread is. But I think the Packers win. Huge game from Jacobs, and look out for Tucker Kraft in this one as well.
Jovan, you want to plug anything on the way out? What you've been working on? You're based in Philly, right? That's where you're based? Yes. Yeah. I mean, Sixers about to start. Are they cooked? Anyone care about what's going on over there?
I don't say the Sixers are probably not cooked. Just a bunch of everybody's. It's a wait and see. It's a wait and see with the Sixers. Anything should hopefully be better than what happened.
Preheating the oven. Night. Just preheating the oven on the Sixers. Just
preheating the oven. You got McCain, Maxey, Edgecombe. It should be all right.
Didn't say Joel Embiid. Didn't even say Joel Embiid out of that.
Yeah, because you gotta see what it is with the injury. But hey, if you get a healthy Joel and a healthy PG, this team could be something.
What you got working on right now, Jovan? You want to plug on the way out? Sorry.
Oh yeah, no. Pretty much Dairyland Express. Obviously, is a bunch of Packer stuff, getting ready. Obviously for week 6. Against hopefully what if the Packers come out and show that they are that team to beat, because you got to keep up with Detroit right now. So obviously week 6, leading into week 6, and obviously the week 6 fallout from that. And then from Philadelphia Sports Lens, obviously totalsportslive.com. A lot of things happening in Philadelphia sports, sadly, with the Phillies, and then obviously the Eagles going down against the New York Giants, and obviously Sixers coming up in a few weeks. So that's pretty much everything on tap.
Yeah, Phillies officially cooked, done, over.
Oh yeah,
the Eagles like. I mean, the Eagles, like, no, you're just
Can you run the tush push the entire game?
Right.
Is that possible?
Yeah, that's what they're wondering. Some people are wondering if they will just do 58 tush pushes next game and lose by 16 instead of 17 to the Giants.
Unless you get the fake tush push. The fake tush
that
push
was good.
That's the second time they've run that. So if you're a Packers fan, like, be on the lookout for that in that matchup, because that's the second time they've ran that style of play where they flip it out and lateral to Goddard in that diamond formation.
Jovan, Alford, Dairyland Express, Total Sports Live. Follow him on Twitter at Jovan10. Thank you so much for popping on, my man. We'll do it again soon sometime.
No problem. Appreciate y'all.
There he is, Jovan, Alford, Dairyland Express, Total Sports Live on the Fan Guest Hotline, powered by Gruber Law. One call. That's all. Oh, always fun to catch up with Jovan. He's an awesome dude. I have no idea how we even found him, but we did.
I just randomly hit him up one day.
Yeah.
That was really what it was.
Now he's one of our guys on here. I think he came on the last time we took over WSD as well. I
think he came on our draft show too, didn't he?
Yes, he did. Yeah, he's always a reliable guy to come out, pop on with us here. Tommy and Charlie in for Mr. Pfeiffer today. Hey, Tommy Wortz here. You can win big this October at Potawatomi. Play the Bird Bash game show for $50,000 in cash. Just play with your Potawatomi rewards card for entries, prize drawings on Thursdays. Plus, your play also earns you a shot at the $300,000 December season finale. It's a Bird Bash only at Potawatomi Casino Hotel. For more details, visit paysbig.com/birdbash. Coming up, one of our colleagues, coworkers, teammates, Brandon Snide, the last couple of days, man, this guy's mouth called me out yesterday because I was talking the future because of my work schedule with the Brewers in this series. And then today he made a comment that Charlie pointed out to me that I said, yep, that's a topic right there. We're going to do it. Is Game 5 the most important game in Brewers history? I'm sorry. Sometimes it's just the most important game in Brewers history. That's what's coming up next. It is Wisconsin Sports Daily, served up by Wendy's, live from the 1250 AM, 105.7 FM, the Fan Studios, powered by the Potawatomi Sportsbook. Welcome back. It is Wisconsin Sports Daily, served up by Wendy's. Tommy Wortz, Charlie Uczen in for Mr. Steve Sparky Pfeiffer. 1250 AM, 105.7 FM, The Fan Studios, powered by the Potawatomi Sportsbook. This one, Red Clay Strays. I'm going to guess Spark, no idea. No idea. No shot. It's got a little bit of a jive to it, though, that I could see him getting behind. Nick Laylaw, fan talking text line, 414-677-1250. I got Trav in Brown Deer. Trav, you are on the Wisconsin Sports Daily with Tommy Wortz and Charles Uczen. Is Game 5 the biggest game in Brewers franchise history, was the question. How are we doing today, Trav?
We are doing good. This is like the World Series, and I hate to say it this way. I don't even know how to say it this way. This is like the World Series. Do not let the Cubs put us out.
Yeah.
You know, to me and I, Sparky would probably say, time is a ticking on us, you know, but do not let the Cubs at their fate, you know.
Okay.
Do not let them,
Trav, Brown Deer, thanks for the call, my man. Have a good rest of your day.
I got one question.
Oh, yeah.
What's
up? Charlie, who do you think they're going to run out tomorrow? You know, is it Priester? You start him?
Rami keeps saying on 9 to Noon and on his 670 show, he keeps saying it's Colin Ray, and it's you mean for the Brewers?
Yeah.
For the Brewers, I think it's going to be Tommy. Kind of convinced me Jose Quintana. For the Cubs, I'm saying Colin Ray for that.
Okay. All right. Trav, have a good one, my man.
Yep, you guys too.
We have some sound from Brandon Snide, Charlie Uczen on the other side of the glass. Play that for us here. Brandon Snide's comments on the biggest Brewer playoff game in the franchise's history.
I don't think this is hyperbolic whatsoever. This is the biggest postseason game in Milwaukee Brewers playoff history on Saturday.
They played in the World Series.
I don't care.
They played in the NLCS.
I don't care.
You know, less than a decade ago.
I do. This is the biggest.
Why? Because of the Craig Counsell angle?
Because
you don't want to lose to Craig and the Cubs?
Yeah, first off, it's against your rival. You set the franchise record for wins in a season. You're the best overall team in baseball. You began this series with a 2-0 lead. You lost 2 on the road. This is going to set this franchise forward or backwards going forward. This is the biggest postseason game we will ever see up until this point. Our kids will remember this game, this series. The Brewers have an opportunity to make this a historic performance on Saturday.
There is 9 to Noon. Brandon Snide, producer of that show, with John Kuhn, Rami Makloff, of course, too. Rami's probably just like, he's probably insufferable right now on that show. I've been so busy. I haven't been able to catch it the last couple of days.
He usually seems to be pretty even keeled. He knows what station he's on, you know.
Yeah, I know, but he also just does like we're the we stink, whatever. And then he's gonna be on Monday like, well, they're
wearing
better
his
than
W
yeah,
shirt
right,
with the hat on and everything. Yep.
Right. And that comment from Brandon Snide, the biggest playoff game in Brewers history, Game 5, the NLDS. Can I say something? This is what I would like to say about it. If you want to go with that claim, I will not call you wrong. But this is what I will say. That is like loser talk, franchise stinks mentality in my mind. This is a team that played in the World Series back in 1982. This is a team that did play a Game 7 of the NLCS within the last decade as well. The angle of Craig Counsell leaves to Chicago. So this is the World Series for the Brewers. If you want to take that angle, I will not be mad, but that is loser talk, Charlie Uczen.
I think I'm with you on that. And I've been saying this for a lot of people this whole postseason when they talk about this series potentially happening when it was just a wild card round. And you guys were saying that you didn't really want to face the Chicago Cubs. And you changed your tone pretty quick. Eventually you were like, no, bring the Cubs on. I want them. That's it. But Sparky was saying that. Brandon was constantly saying that he didn't want to play the Cubs. I mean, why not? This is something that I think is a story maker if you go and win this series, and it is a part of that legacy of this team eventually moving on. I wouldn't say that this game specifically is the biggest game in history. I think if you go and blow this game and you go and get killed in game 5, it may be the worst loss in postseason history for the Milwaukee Brewers. That's pretty bad. You should not have been in that spot for all the same points that Brandon brought up there in that segment. But at the same time, you can't go into this game thinking this is the best game ever, because then, or the most necessary game ever, because what is the next game after that, and the game after that, and then what is the World Series if you get there? You're just constantly keep adding that type of pressure onto yourself, and you just cannot do that.
We have been on YouTube for a little over an hour and a half, and I just realized that my collar was messed up the entire time. It was tucked in. And thanks for helping, Charlie. Thanks for the help on that.
Do I look like a fashionista?
No, I guess, but I mean, no one said anything. I just fixed it. It should be better now.
Yeah, Q even mentioned my sweatshirt. Didn't bring up your sweatshirt.
Didn't bring up mine on how it's just the collar was totally tucked in the entire time. But I think, just as you feel that I may have convinced you on Jose Quintana being the Game 5 starter or opener, whatever you want to say, for the Milwaukee Brewers, I do think, however, you have convinced me on, if the Brewers were to lose Game 5, it could be noted as one of the most devastating losses in franchise history for Milwaukee. Yes, I can get behind that take. So if that is the extreme bad for this, that is why I can sympathize with people saying that this is the biggest game in Brewers history. I can sympathize because it would be the most devastating loss. I do not think that that's a hot take. You are up 2-0. You are the best record team in baseball. That's not something that you get from being a mediocre team. You are a good baseball team if you have the best record in the regular season. Are you the best team? Not necessarily. Maybe you just played a really good run. There was some other ways around it, but I will say you are a good baseball team, hot take, if you have the best record in Major League Baseball. So now let's say it's the Padres. Let's say it's the Padres come out of that series. They win in Wrigley. They're the team that the Brewers are playing. And the Brewers, they won the first 2 games in Milwaukee. They lost the next 2 games in San Diego. If the Padres come to Milwaukee and they eliminate the Brewers, is it the most devastating loss in playoff history still, Charlie Uczen?
No.
It's not.
It's not. No.
It's not. It's the Chicago
it's
factor.
The Chicago factor for that, yeah.
It's the Craig Counsell factor. Mm-hmm. The traitor. Sorry, I won't even say his name on this show.
You can say it. Sparky's just bitter.
But if it is the Chicago Cubs to eliminate them, and they were down 2-0 in the series, they brought it back after Wrigley. Yeah, maybe it is the most devastating and a potential for the most devastating. But if that is the case, then I will argue that for you as a Brewers fan, this is your World Series. Like, if you think this is the most important game, this is your World Series. If you beat the Cubs, you are fine with anything else after that.
Really?
If you believe that, if you are saying that this is the most important game in Brewers history, then you have to say that you are fine with anything else after this. I believe that, because otherwise they lose, like Q is saying in the YouTube chat here, they lost in the NLCS multiple times. And he's bringing up the Cardinals. I'm talking about the Dodgers. They played Game 7 to go to the World Series. That is a much bigger playoff game in my mind than Game 5 in the NLDS against the Cubs. It is the Cubs factor on this as to why people believe this could be the most important. And by people, I'm talking about our guy Brandon Snide saying that this is the most important game in Brewers franchise history. I don't believe that. I don't believe that it is the most important game they will play this year. I think the Brewers have a chance to win the game. I wouldn't say that it is more 50% on the Brewers side of things. I would probably lean for the Cubs. Like I said, I think I'm at 70-30 on this. But there is potential. This is 100% a chance at the Brewers playing more meaningful baseball games after this game, Charlie.
Oh, 100%. And I don't think that if you feel that way, you feel like the Brewers can go out here and win more games and play more meaningful baseball, then there is no way you can possibly think this game is going to be the most meaningful, that this game has that much to it, that this game matters the most in Brewers history. And throughout the entire regular season, I said it earlier, and I'll say it again, and especially through the second half of the season, I had no doubts that the Brewers were the best team in baseball and could for sure win a World Series this year. And so far through this series, I don't feel like I should have to change my mind. And if you go into this final game with that mentality of this being the most important game in history for the Milwaukee Brewers, then you've changed your mind about how you felt earlier in the year about this team, and you don't have that much faith in this team.
Mornings can all start to feel the same, so if you're looking for a fresh wake-up call, look no further than Wendy's Breakfast. Try a breakfast Baconator with fresh cracked eggs and crispy bacon, grilled sausage, breakfast burrito, or maybe even a honey buddy. And don't even think about sleeping on Wendy's seasoned potatoes and English muffin sandwiches. Doesn't matter what you go for, it's going to change your life. Okay, well, it's at least going to freshen up your morning. No, I will say, I will advocate it will change your life. Wendy's probably the best breakfast in the fast food game, and it might not even be close right now. Ready for a fresh wake-up call? It's got to be Wendy's. Again, endorsement, I will say it will change your life. I'm pretty confident of that, Charles.
Change your life?
Yeah,
that's pretty confident.
I mean, Wendy's,
the potatoes are where it's at. That is my favorite. And the potatoes they put in everything. It's just so
again,
good.
if you haven't had their breakfast, man, you are missing out. I don't know what you're doing. Honestly, it's got to be Wendy's. It's got to be. It is Wisconsin Sports Daily. We are served up by Wendy's. Coming up next, Charlie's Sounds of the Day. This is usually like, he's like, oh, I'm always nice on Fridays or whatever. And Sparky just gets offended by every sound you play. It feels
There's
like
things that I played to be nice to him, and he still gets angry.
Yes. So we'll see what happens with this. I'll do my best Steve Sparky Pfeiffer impression during Charlie's Sounds of the Day. It is Wisconsin Sports Daily. We are served up by Wendy's, live from the 1250 AM 105.7 FM The Fan Studios, powered by the Potawatomi Sportsbook.
What sound clips will Chicago Charlie pick today for Sparky? Will Sparky become enraged? Will laughter ensue? It's time for Charlie's Sound of the Day. It's Wisconsin Sports Daily, served up by Wendy's on the Fan.
Charlie's Sounds of the Day, presented by Prize Picks here. I am rarely on this side of Sounds of the Day. It's one of my favorite segments to listen to, though, on the show, because they give all these options on the big voice lady there on what Sparky will feel. Usually he's just enraged. Usually he's just angry. Charlie's like, what did Stephen A. Smith say like today? Because I gotta get that out of him.
Stephen A., Kendrick Perkins, all his favorites.
Right, Nick Wright, like whoever it is.
Bill Simmons.
Yes. What do we got today for Sounds of the Day?
So first up, we were talking with our guy Jovan earlier, and I was going to bring it up with him, but I didn't want to break his heart. You brought it up a little bit with him, though, to tease him a little bit. The Philadelphia Phillies last night lost on this play by Orion Kerkering, one of their star relievers this season.
No balls and a strike. Pages breaks his bat. Kerkering got to find it. Throws to the plate. Oh, my goodness. He throws it away. And the Dodgers have won. The Dodgers win. And they are moving on to the NLCS. In a most improbable finish. Pandemonium at Dodger Stadium. And your heart breaks for Orion Kerkering.
Oh, wait. Brian, like that back end of it was the worst part. Like, just in case you didn't know his name on who just messed up everything, Orion Kerkering. Ah, gosh, that was brutal, man. All he had to do was throw to first. That's all he had to do. He had plenty of time. He panicked. He threw home. Throw was probably late, but already offline going home as well. So it made it look even worse. But yeah, I mean, your heart breaks for Orion Kerkering, I guess. Like, that's going to be a couple of weeks before you get over that one, right? Maybe
a couple of weeks. I mean, that's the type of play that, like, Cody Parkey, double doink, he never lived that down. There was 3 years later.
Bill Buckner, right? Everyone knows Bill Buckner, like, missing it through the same
legs. Kind of vein. I know it, like you said, the throw home was never going to be there. Like, he was going to be safe, but you just got to go to first.
Got to go to first.
Got to go to first.
Yeah, I just don't feel sorry for either of those organizations, though, to be fair. Phillies or the Dodgers, whoever. Like, it's one of those where it's like, can these both teams just lose, like, at the end of this? But yeah, that play, brutal. It will go down in infamy in Philadelphia sports for sure. What do you got for clip number 2?
Next up, we're going to hear from Badgers basketball coach, because we don't want to talk about their football team at all.
Thank you.
Greg Gard's a lot more fun to hear from now.
Aura.
He was discussing the expectations for the team going into 2025, and he brings up Final Four type of expectations.
Well, defense is important. They understand that. You can't have one without the other. We were still last year 3rd in the league defensively, like 24th nationally. That needs to climb towards the top 10 is where we'd like to have that, and keep the offense towards the top 10. Then you've got a legit shot to play, deep into March. You're a Final Four on paper. That's analytically what a Final Four team looks like. So that's the ultimate goal, is to build a team and grow a team to get to that. But those things defensively, that's where I think the experience of our corner guys coming in, I've noticed is Boyd, Carrington, they understand that because they've been around college a little bit longer than others, so they've been able to help kind of bridge that gap, so to speak, as we get better defensively. I think we're a little more mobile. We're bigger across the board. Not only you think big, you think, well, how big are our 4s and 5s? We're big across the board at the other places too, on the wings and at the guard. So all those things can tie together to help make you better defensively.
I'll tie it into Badger football, even though you said we're not going to. Who would have thought, like, 3 years later, Greg Gard would be in a way safer spot than Luke Fickell, right? I mean,
Never in my life.
No one thought that. I mean, the guy turned the program, he didn't turn it around. He inherited a good program, and he sustained it. Last year, the Badger team was fun, man. John Tanji, John Blackwell, I know they didn't necessarily, like, exceed the expectations, but I have faith in this Badger basketball team to be competitive every year, and they're priding it on just playing really good basketball, right? They brought in the Blackwell comes back. Rhodey is a huge transfer. Everyone's excited about too. And yeah, let's see what this big man play can do here, Charles.
I mean, I watched Andrew Rhodey play high school ball. I went to high school with him. So it was fun to watch him play, and he is a really versatile wing that can go out there and give you a lot of buckets from the three, but also can play some really strong defense if he's got his energy towards that. So that's something that's going to be really exciting. I mean, the way Greg Card, when I've heard him at the Big Ten Media Days talking about this, it just felt like he has a lot of confidence in this team from the beginning of the season. It felt like last year he was kind of going in with a Pat Murphy style mentality where it's like, we're underdogs. These guys are all from these small schools. We're going to get them right, and they're going to be stars here. He's going into this season with guys that he feels like are polished already and have played at bigger universities than a John Tanji has. And that's something that's really important for this team. I'm excited for him this year.
All right, we got time for one more.
And last up here, we're going to head over to 670 The Score in Spiegel and Holmes, where Boog Sciambi was on this show talking about Pat Murphy and his mom and the kind of back and forth that
Boog. All right.
Boog's mom and Pat Murphy had.
So I'm on the phone with my mom.
Yeah.
And mom's all in on the Cubs. And mom watches the games and she gets anxious. Like she gets
Boog's
anxious
mom,
in a
not
way,
Pat's
just
mom.
anxious.
That's
She
lovely.
just-
Give her Christine's number.
So she is all in. And I'm on the phone with her the other day. And as we're about to get off the phone, she goes, oh, and one more thing. That manager on the other team, I don't like him one bit. That smug look on his face, it's like he's trying to rub Craig's nose in it. It's like every time they cut to him, he's been laughing at the Cubs, and then they cut to him, and he's got that little smile on his face. I don't like it at all. Very, very smug.
So I
hang on. I got.
Oh, sorry. I knew there was a button on this.
Because I'm me, I'm like, I have to tell Murph this. I'm like, that smug look on your face. So I told him, and he made a video for my mom, just kind of apologizing. And eventually I shared the entire story with Craig, and Craig goes, yeah, you know what the look on his face is? That's what it looks like when you're up 4 runs.
That's how you get the smug look.
That's how you get the smug look. You're up 4 runs.
You lead by 4. That is beautiful.
We're literally in there like, who do you think you're going to go to in the 5th, and what matchup do you like? And I'm sitting there going, you know, my mom's a little annoyed with me right now.
Boog Sciambi, play-by-play for the Chicago Cubs, of course. Does some national stuff. I mean, look, I don't know how you can't love Pat Murphy. Like, Pat Murphy, the look on his face is his face, by the way. I've made the comparison of, like, he'd be the best grandpa, he'd be the worst father-in-law. It's just uncanny. My childhood friend, his stepdad and Pat Murphy are just the same guy. I mean, they're the exact same guy. You know, it's this teddy bear for his family, you know, but it's like, I really don't want to shake his hand because it's going to hurt when I shake his hand. You already know that. But look, I would love to see a smiling Pat Murphy instead of a smug looking Pat Murphy after Game 5. I got no problem with that. I hope he gets a smug on Craig's face. You know,
that would be nice.
That's the look you have when it's when you're up 4 runs. Screw you, dude. All right, Charlie sounds of the day. That wasn't too bad. That was the last one that Craig comment. Ugh, God, this guy is just.
You're still calling him Craig?
If smug could be personified, it would be Craig Counsell. He just looks smug all the time too. All right.
Sometimes he looks lost more than smug.
Yeah.
I'll say, yeah.
I mean, screw it. Whatever it is. Coming up, Green and Gold update. Matt LaFleur, he talked earlier today for a couple of minutes. They'll play that for you on the other side. It is Wisconsin Sports Daily, served up by Wendy's. Tommy Wortz, Charlie Uczen in for Mr. Pfeiffer today. He will be back next week. Let's get to our Green and Gold update live from the 1250 AM 105.7 FM The Fan Studios.